Hi, I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my August wrap-up, which includes my wrap-up for the Spooky Smart Bee Readathon hosted by Jordaline Reed. So let me tell you about the 3 books that I finished for that readathon. First is a graphic novel, The Low, Low Woods by Carmen Maria Machado, illustrated by Danny and Tamara Bonvillain. And this is a Hill House comic under the DC Black label. I really love this graphic novel. I hope that they'll do another volume of this comic. I loved it a lot. And basically it's about this town that's in a real economic and environmental downturn and is not doing well. And there's some bad things happening in this town. These 2 girls are found right in the middle of all the chaos. There's also a witch in this book, and I really like that character. She appears to be a little kid, but she's actually old. And yes, this is very supernatural, but hits on a lot of real social issues. It is just a really great 5-star graphic novel, in my opinion. I also read Blood on the Tracks, Volume 1. I was not planning on reading a manga, but I went to Barnes & Noble one day and I saw Blood on the Tracks. They had the manga right up front. They reorganized everything, and I was like, well, maybe I will check this one out, since I've been hearing such great things about it. And I will say that it was surprising. I would say that this is a really great character study of a little boy and his mom, and it's a great coming-of-age story. It had one heck of a creepy twist. So I did enjoy this manga. I'm not sure, I mean, just for the character development, I think it is worth reading on, but the volumes are so expensive, I probably don't know if I will. And the Low, Low Woods counted for the prompts of an LGBTQ plus author, woman author, BIPOC author. Blood on the Tracks counts for a translated work, a BIPOC author, and a spooky manga. And my last book I read for the readathon is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones, which is for the prompt of BIPOC author as well. And I have a full review of this book up on my channel. I'll link it down below. But I will say that I love this book. I gave it 5 stars. I love all the nods to horror films, and the finale of the book was amazing. I really love Stephen Graham Jones' writing, and this book was no exception. It was another one for the books. I just loved it. I read a lot of more books in August that were not for the readathon. I read August Eyes by Glenn Rolfe, which I also have a review up on my channel. And it's a solid, super creepy horror novel about a serial killer that goes after young boys. So very tough subject matter. And there is a supernatural twist that I really enjoyed. If you want to hear more, My review is down below, and that one I gave 4 stars. Next, I read Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson. And I read this as the group read on Paperback Junkies Discord channel. I love the movie with Johnny Depp, and the book is great as well. The movie is a great adaptation and stays pretty close to the book. There were a couple parts that were not in the movie, but for the most part, it was a great adaptation. I enjoyed reading it and remembering the movie, basically. The stories are, the characters are true bizarre characters, and Hunter S. Thompson is writing about himself, so oh boy, that was a wild ride. And at work, I'm back to work, back at the school, and I read Touching Spirit Bear by Ben Mickelson again with a small group, and I liked it even more this time, I think. I forgot how intense the bear attack in this book is. Man, that is harrowing. I think I thought the main character was a little annoying, and that was the only reason that I gave it 3 stars the first time, but didn't bother me as much this time. I love the character growth. There's this kid that gets into a lot of trouble. He's in trouble with the law, and he won't take ownership for anything that he does. I really enjoyed this book this time around and gave it 4 stars. I love the character growth and how much he learns in the process of this book. I read Firestarter by Stephen King, which was the Stephen King Book Club book pick for August, which is hosted by Kelly Hooked on Books, and we discuss them on Brad Proctor's Discord channel. And Firestarter is about a little girl and her dad who are on the run, and they have been in a lab and tested on with a certain drug that gave them superpowers, and the dad can influence people's minds, read their minds, and the girl can start fires with her mind. They think that they are too powerful, so people are after them. And I did like the little girl a lot. I liked the story quite a bit. I didn't really care for any of the lab people, the antagonists. I didn't really care about them. Any parts about them, or mostly focusing on the antagonists, I thought dragged and were a little boring, but I did like Charlie, the little girl, quite a bit. And there was a great ending, very action-packed, and I could see why they would want to make that book into a movie. I ended up giving Firestarter 3.5 stars. I also read The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This I read for the If You Gotta Read It challenge hosted by the Spinebreakers, and this was for the prompt, read a book that reminds you of your favorite season. My favorite season is summer. This is a very summery cover, and it's about weddings and vacations and Hawaii, and definitely reminds me of summer, which is wonderful. I love this bright, awesome cover. And the story was really great too. It is a romance, contemporary romance, that was really funny and very, very cute. I loved every second of reading this. Even if the beginning setup was, some parts of the things that go wrong at the wedding were a little predictable, but overall, I could not get enough of the chemistry between the two characters. Even when they hate each other, not really, they're just hilarious. So that was fun to read. Anyways, I highly enjoyed this book. The last book I'm going to talk about today is The Sky Woman by Jd Moyer, which was a buddy read with Josh from Working Man Reads. This is a, I'm going to say fantasy sci-fi book, because it is very sci-fi with these ring worlds in the sky where people are living because the Earth became more and more uninhabitable. There are very few people left on Earth, and this girl gets sent down to Earth to study some of the groups that are left on Earth. And the groups that are left are very primitive and living off the land, that sort of thing. The group that she is living closest to is Viking inspired, and it was very interesting to hear how these groups ended up being there that are like Vikings, and how the people that live in the ring worlds evolved over time differently. And there was just this interesting difference between the people on Earth and people who still had all this technology. A lot of super wild things start happening, and this definitely ended up being very fantasy-esque, with things that I could not imagine actually happening in the future in my wildest imagination. But some sci-fi I've read is kind of like that. Like The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Who would have ever thought that the future could look like that? But H.G. Wells said it, and that makes you think, I wonder if people really would evolve like that. So there was some stuff like this. There was a lot of genetic alteration discussed, how people would choose their genes and choose what their kids would be like, that kind of thing. And that led to some out of the ordinary traits. A pretty bizarre book, and I really liked it. I really, really liked it. And I do love fantasy as well as sci-fi, so I just kind of had to roll with it and kind of go with the flow with this book. It went some weird places, and I am down for it, and I want to read more. So those are all the books that I read in August. I believe there were 9 of them. Not bad. Didn't read everything that I was planning to, but I'm not complaining. How did you do in your reading in August? Have you read any of these books, or do you want to? Let me know. I will be back very soon with another book-related video, so Thank you. Bye.